Hi everyone, my name is JT Pilot and today we'll be making another video. This time we'll be doing the 30th Jacksonville Fictional Airport update, and this is for March of 2024, and this is the 1,000 subscriber special airport update. So, yes, I've reached 1,000 subscribers, so I'd like to thank everybody so much for their support over the past 4 years, and today we'll be making a special airport update. So, in this airport update, we'll be incorporating some Q&A questions that you guys have submitted, so I decided to incorporate them in today's video. This makes this airport update even better. So there'll be some Q&A questions throughout the video. So some of you guys have submitted some. If you want to submit some more, you just use the Google form in the description below, because I may include some in the next airport update as well. Also, they include some subscriber routes in today's video. So we have a few new ones. I did revisit some old ones as well, and I'll do the same in the next airport update, because I know a lot of you guys really like your subscriber routes and you want them to be featured in this video. Because yeah, I'll be the same way. So I would love my subscriber route to be featured. So yeah, so nonetheless, we'll be starting off all the aircraft taxiing around. Then we'll be starting off with Terminal 1, Terminal 2, and then we'll be, I'll be telling you guys about the new air traffic control tower. Then we'll be proceeding on to Terminal 3. So nonetheless, let's get started off with the first aircraft. So our first aircraft in today's airport day is the United Boeing 737-900ER. This aircraft is number 1 for takeoff for a flight out to Los Angeles. Alright, moving on to your next aircraft here, the lovely NG Model Southwest Airlines Boeing 737-MAX 8. He's just arrived in from Las Vegas, and he'll be heading out to Baltimore. So, pretty lovely model besides the dark heart livery. Moving on to your next aircraft here, the lovely Gemini Cayman Airways Boeing 737-MAX 8. This aircraft will be heading out to Georgetown today in the Cayman Islands. I've been there before. It's a lovely destination. I suggest a lot of you go there for vacation. It's just Cayman Islands are a lovely country. Alright, so moving on to our next aircraft. This is a fitting aircraft for today's airport day, because here are the NG models Delta Airlines Airbus A321-200 in the thank you livery. So I'd like to thank you everybody for helping me reach 1,000 subscribers, and we'll be proceeding on to our first Q&A question. I'm going to segue into my first Q&A question is, why did I start collecting? The main reason why I started collecting model airplanes is just to fulfill my passion for commercial aviation. Yeah, before I started collecting, I've always loved commercial aviation. I thought these aircraft are fascinating flying machines. So I really wanted to do a model hobby of that, because I used to collect Legos a long time ago, and I kind of miss having some sort of, in-person hobby or just a model hobby. Something in person rather than just a computer hobby. So that's why I started collecting model planes. I just collected models that I really like or I've seen in real life, or just collecting US models and making this wonderful model airport. I did used to have a Lego City, so this model airport's kind of replaced that. So I really love Jacksonville Fictional Airport. It's one of my favorite projects I've done in my lifetime. So yeah, so nonetheless, this Delta Airbus A321 will be heading out to New York John F. Kennedy. Moving on to our next aircraft here, the JetBlue Airbus A320-200 in the high-rise tail. This aircraft is arriving from Worcester, New York, and you'll be heading out to New York John F. Kennedy or Southwest Flyers 345's airport. Moving on to our next aircraft, we haven't featured this aircraft model here, the Delta Boeing 717-200. He's just arriving from Raleigh-Durham, and he'll be making a return flight out there, or Citrus Aviation's airport. So he does have the lovely Raleigh airport, and yeah. And moving on to our next taxiing aircraft here, the Southwest Boeing 737-MAX 8 in the lovely Desert Gold retro livery. We'll say this aircraft has arrived in from Austin, and he'll be heading out to, we'll do Oakland for him. Alright, so moving on to our next aircraft. So here we have Spirit Airbus A320neo. He's arrived in from Kingston in Jamaica. He'll be making a flight out to St. Thomas. So yeah, so those are some new Spirit international destinations over at Jacksonville. So yeah, those have been underserved markets, so it's great to see new service. And that's a lovely NG model, by the way. And then moving on to our next aircraft here, the Copa Boeing 737-800. He's arrived in from Panama City and making a return flight out there. Alright, proceeding on to our next aircraft here, the lovely NG models British Airways Boeing 787-10. We'll be heading out to London Heathrow or Milos Aviation's airport, so another subscriber route. Sorry about that little stutter there. Moving on to our next aircraft. So here the Delta Airbus A321neo. We'll be heading out to Salt Lake City or Aviation 45's airport, so another lovely engine release. Moving on to our next aircraft, this is a brand new model to the collection, which is the lovely Aviation 400 Lufthansa Airbus A350-900. So I did purchase this model from CLT Aviation 13 from his Instagram account, along with another model. So, yes, I really want to, yeah, I really want to support him since he was one of the key people that have inspired me to start this YouTube channel. So I decided to buy a few models from him, including this fantastic model and another model that's in this video. So these are going to be lovely models for Jacksonville, and they'll be, they'll have a great purpose here, and I'll definitely use them in several of my airport dates, including this Lufthansa 850. It's a fantastic Aviation Foreigner model. Really love it. The mold's fantastic. Lots of details, and this is the first Aviation Foreigner release, which is a little first Lufthansa A350 release from Aviation Foreigner, which is a little bit more rare. So that kind of adds a little more sentiments for me to this model. So yes, and this model has been featured in several of CLT Aviation 13's updates, including his Charlotte updates. It's great to have this aircraft over at Jacksonville now. So yes, it's been as seen on YouTube models. So yeah, so this aircraft, we'll say he has just arrived in from Munich and making a return flight out there, so as a new Lufthansa destination. So there you go. All right, we got some taxiing aircraft between the terminals. We'll start off with this aircraft here. So starting off with our next aircraft, here's the Delta was A319-100, that lovely engine release. This aircraft will be heading out to Boston. And our next aircraft over here is the Available 737-800, this awful Gemini model. This aircraft has arrived in from Wilmington in North Carolina and will be heading out to Lansing in Michigan. And our next question is, what are some top 3 models you regret purchasing? This is from my Instagram follower, Brian Baum. So, top 3 models I regret purchasing? Definitely this one. I would say this one's number 1, because this is a terrible model. My second model I regret buying the most is the American A320 from Gemini. That's the 2020 release with the horrible color on it. I did sell that model, but I still regret buying it to this day. Then the third model I regret buying the most, I would say, is probably the Gemini Southwest Desert Gold Bone 737-700. They released back in, I think March 2021 they did that release, and that was a terrible model as well. So yeah, so if you're wondering the models I regret buying the most, those are it. And this model is definitely highest on the list of models I regret buying. All right. So we're seeing on to the next aircraft. So here the Condor Airbus A330-900 Neo. This aircraft will be heading up to Frankfurt. So that lovely Condor livery. It's pretty interesting livery, I should say. Moving on to our next aircraft, here's the Canada models. JetBlue Airlines Airbus A321LR in the streamer style. I haven't featured this model in a pretty long time, so figured I'd feature in today's airport day. And this aircraft will be heading up to London Gatwick for a transatlantic service. This is another model I've been featured in a long time, or I don't think I've ever featured this on this YouTube channel besides in the collection videos. We have the FedEx Boeing 767-300F. So yes, there are some cargo models in this airport day, or just this one. In the future, I do plan on doing a cargo section somewhere in Jacksonville. Let's make it a little bit more realistic. But in today's video, this aircraft is just, taxiing across the runway, a little runway incursion there. So yeah, somebody at ATC is getting fired today. But yes, somebody's getting in trouble. But anyways, so we'll say this FedEx Boeing 767-300F will be heading on to Memphis after crossing the runway and moving to, and proceeding to the taxiways. Alright, our next aircraft, touching down a little bit ahead of that FedEx 767. Here are the lovely Gemini Jets United Airlines Boeing 777-300ER with the flaps down. Man, this one looks fantastic landing. In case you didn't know, pilots use flaps on landings. They use these flaps on landings, so in a higher degree setting. So this increased their angle of their descent angle, so they can touch down on the runway. So that's a little fact for you, fun fact. But so this makes landing aircraft look so much more realistic. And this is one good way to use a flaps down model at your airport. So just to have an aircraft that's touching down like this United 777, and this aircraft is touching down from San Francisco. Moving on to our next aircraft, here's the Alaska Airlines Boeing 747-900ER. Pretty typical visitor over at Jacksonville, and he'll be heading out to Seattle. Our next aircraft is the Iceland Air Boeing 747-MAX 8. He'll be heading out to Reykjavik, Keflavik, so that's a lovely Gemini Jets model. And might as well cover this model over here. Here's the American Boeing 787-8, and he will be heading out to London Heathrow. That's a lovely NG release. Our next model up is the United Express CRJ 550. He'll be heading out to Cleveland today. Our next aircraft up is the Breeze Embraer ERJ 195. We'll say he's arriving from Huntsville, and he'll be heading out to Hartford today. So I haven't used that model in a while. I heard Breeze will be turning these E190s and E195s to exclusively charter aircraft. So yeah, that'll be interesting. There'll be solely an A220 operator coming up, so that'll definitely be interesting. So I just want to feature this aircraft on the scheduled passenger service in this airport date, just before Breeze moves them on over to completely charter services. Our next aircraft up is the Emirates Boeing 777-200LR, and this aircraft will be heading out to Dubai. And our next aircraft up is the Sun Country 737-800, and this aircraft will be heading out to Minneapolis, St. Paul, that lovely NG release. Our next model up is the JetBlue Airbus A321-200 in the mint lease tail. And this mint lease livery, I should say, the lovely new JetBlue livery. Yes, and I will be soon be getting the new NG Balloons livery JetBlue A321 and the NG Spotlight livery A320. Those are future releases from NG, so we should be seeing them being released in the coming months, and they should be featured in my Jacksonville Fictional Airport dates in the future. So that's really exciting, and I really love JetBlue's new livery. And this aircraft will be heading out to San Juan, in case any of you were wondering. And our next aircraft is the Avianca Airbus A320-200, and this aircraft will be heading out to Bogota in Colombia. Alright, so moving on to our next aircraft, here will be Southwest Boeing 737-700 in the Heart livery, that lovely Panama's release. We'll say this aircraft has arrived in from Houston Intercontinental and be heading out to Des Moines in Iowa. Moving on to our next aircraft, here we have another subscriber out here for United Airbus A321neo. This aircraft will be heading out to Phoenix or Daring Marks' airport, so that's a lovely NG release there. And speaking of lovely NG releases, here are the Southwest 747-800 in the Heart livery, the first release. We'll say this aircraft has arrived in from Nashville and be heading out to St. Louis or RC Miles and Moore's airport, so yeah, I'd like to thank him so much for his support over the past few years. And our final taxiing aircraft here, the Air Canada Rouge Airbus A321-200, and this aircraft will be heading out to Toronto Pearson. And alright, so proceeding on to our next section, which is Terminal 1. So starting off the United Airlines section, and yeah, got a pretty good lineup today, a lot of special liveries. So starting off the first aircraft here for United Airbus A319-100. So this is a pretty good Gemini Jets release, and this aircraft will be heading out to Washington Dulles. And he's getting loaded by Air Stewardess because the gate broke over here a few months ago. Our next aircraft up is the United Airlines Boeing 737-900 in the Continental Airlines retro livery. What a beautiful NG model. Really love this livery. It's one of my favorite special liveries in the United fleet, and probably one of my favorite special liveries of all time. So it's a really beautiful model. Really love this NG release. And this aircraft will be heading out to Houston Intercontinental. Our next aircraft up is the United Boeing 737-MAX 9, so a lovely NG models release. You'll be heading out to Newark, and this will be a perfect segue into my next Q&A question, which is from American Abby, and he asked me, what's your thoughts on commercial aviation in 2024? And just one word, crazy. So that's all I really got to say. It's just been a crazy year. Lots of incidents. I want to explore, I want to dive into that more in a coming video, so if you guys are interested in that, just let me know. But it's just been a crazy year from the 747-MAX 9 unplugged door blowout to a United 777 losing one of its landing gears. So, yeah. Alright, so moving on to our next aircraft here, the United Boeing 757-200 in the Aurora here, California livery. We'll say this aircraft has arrived in, it's arrived in from Chicago O'Hare, and it'll be making a return flight out there. Our next Star Alliance airline at this airport today, which is Scandinavian Airlines. So this Scandinavian Airlines, or SAS, Airbus A350-900 will be heading out to Copenhagen. And our next Star Alliance carrier up is the Singapore Airlines Airbus A380-800, one of my favorite models of all time. This is a lovely Aviation 400 release, lots of details on it. So this aircraft will be heading out to Singapore with a stopover in Frankfurt because the A380 doesn't have the range to fly from Jacksonville, Florida to Singapore. So there you go. Alright, so proceeding on to our next aircraft here for Japan Airlines Boeing 787-9, and this aircraft will be heading out to Tokyo Haneda. Our next aircraft up is the Gemini Jets JetBlue Airlines Airbus A320-200 in the Barcode Tail. I haven't featured this model in a while, so decided to feature in today's airport date. And this aircraft has arrived in from Buffalo, and it'll be heading out to Richmond in Virginia in the coming hours. Moving on to our next aircraft here, the Alaska Airlines Boeing 747-800 in the Disneyland Star Wars livery. What a great NG models release. And this aircraft will be heading out to San Diego today. Moving on to our next aircraft here, an American Boeing 747-800 with the winglet logos. This lovely 747 will be heading out to Charlotte today. Our next American model up is the American Airbus A321-200 with sharklets, and this aircraft will be heading out to Dallas Fort Worth. And our next American 747 Stranger will be heading out. We'll be heading out to Washington National. And our final American aircraft in today's airport day is the American Eagle Embraer J175. This aircraft will be heading out to New York LaGuardia, and this will be a Republic flight. Alright, so proceeding on to one taxiing aircraft between Terminal 1 and Terminal 2. Here are the Southwest 747-700 in hard livery with blended winglets. This aircraft has arrived in from Pittsburgh, and you'll be heading out to Milwaukee and Wisconsin in the coming hours. Alright, so starting off Terminal 2 at my Jacksonville Fictional Airport. So here, I'll be starting with the Southwest Airlines section. We do have one new model, so. Starting with the first aircraft, here we have a Southwest 747 MAX 8, so this is the Gemini just released. And this aircraft has arrived in from Long Island Islip, and we'll say he'll be heading out to, let's do Raleigh-Durham for him. Moving on to our next aircraft. Here we have a Southwest 747 Stranger in the lovely Freedom 1 livery. It's a beautiful Southwest livery to honor the wonderful nation of the United States of America. And yes, fantastic NG release, way better than the Gemini release. And this is a segue to my next Q&A question from my friend Aviation Malik 14, and he asked, how do you decide which models are necessary to pick up between NG models and Gemini jets? And basically, I decided on how to pick up models just based on the manufacturer's mold quality. So NG 747 mold is better than Gemini, so it's just fact because Gemini has several defects like high wings, large skimmer winglets. Yeah, those are like the main issues, and the nose is kind of funky on that aircraft as well. And that's really how to decide which models to buy between NG, Gemini, and all the other manufacturers as well. It's just basically the mold quality and how the delivery will turn out, because sometimes manufacturers will screw up delivery. Not trying to name one model over there in particular, but yes, that's basically how to decide between which models I will buy. So thank you for that wonderful question. So this aircraft has arrived in from Dallas Love Field and he'll be heading out to Tampa or Tampa Spire 11's airport. So that's a pretty short flight, but that's a pretty cool subscriber route. So thank you so much. And moving on to your next aircraft. I know this probably isn't realistic for today's airport day, but I just wanted to feature this new NG model, and this aircraft will soon be flying around, hopefully. This is the NG model Southwest 747 MAX 7. So we'll say this aircraft has arrived in from Albany and be heading out to Chicago Midway. So yes, this model has a way too dark livery, but it's great to finally have a MAX 7 in my airport updates. Moving on to our next model. I haven't featured this model in a while. We have the Southwest Arizona 1-bin 747-700 with split skimmer wing. That's a lovely painted model's release. We'll say this aircraft has arrived in from Phoenix, so a fitting destination, and it'll be heading out to Louisville. And our next aircraft up is the Southwest 747-800 by NG Miles. This is the fourth release. And this aircraft has arrived in from Denver or NBS Aviation's airport, and it'll be heading out to Indianapolis. And our final aircraft over here is this Southwest 747-700 with splits. This aircraft has arrived in from San Diego, and you'll be heading out to Norfolk, Virginia, or my home airport. Moving on to our next flight here is Spirit Airbus A320 with fin tips, and this is a lovely NG Miles release. And we'll say this aircraft has arrived in from Myrtle Beach. It'll be heading out to Cancun, so another new Spirit international destination. So yeah, that will complement the other new international destinations well. And our next aircraft up is a lovely Spirit Airbus A320 Neo Spirit Airbus A321 Neo by NG Miles. What a fantastic release here. And we'll say this aircraft has arrived in from Cleveland, and it'll be heading out to Detroit, so a fantastic release there. Moving on to our next aircraft, here we have a Breeze Airbus A320-300, and we'll say this aircraft has arrived in from San Francisco, and it'll be heading out to New Bern in North Carolina. So that is a new Breeze route, so that's a new Breeze route, and Breeze will soon be flying there in real life, so that's really exciting. I have been to New Bern before, so I just figured I'd feature that wonderful small town destination there. So yeah, New Bern, North Carolina. Moving on to our next aircraft, we got an Allegiant Airbus A320. You know these are going to be some interesting routes because Allegiant flies the most random places possible. And I got two destinations for you in this update. So this Allegiant A320 has arrived in from Plattsburgh, and he'll be heading out to Portsmouth in New Hampshire. And moving on to our final aircraft in this section, here we have Frontier Airbus A320 Neo in the Poppy the Prairie Dogtail. We'll say this aircraft has arrived in from Columbus. It'll be heading out to Punta Cana. So that's that is a new Frontier destination. So Frontier is trying to compete with Spirit by adding some international destinations of their own. And speaking of adding Frontier destinations, let's add some Frontier models. And this is a segue to our next Q&A question. This is from one of my Instagram followers, from Ryan Karp. And he asked, do you see NG releasing Frontier A320 Neo soon? And honestly, I do see it. I would really love NG to release some Frontiers because these Gemini models are really mediocre. So yeah, because NG just released some Frontier A318s. I'd say we'll give them another 5 to 6 months before we see some Frontier modern aircraft like a Frontier A320neo or Frontier A320s. I'm sure they'll release every tail possible, but I'll definitely buy every single one. Yeah, I really love NG's Neo mold, and I really love collecting Frontier models just because of these lovely tails here. I love collecting all the different animals, so yeah, so I do see NG finally releasing Frontier models soon. It's been a long time since they said they would, but because I remember in 2020 they said they released a Frontier 21, which we haven't seen yet, but NG's probably got a lot of requests, so it probably has taken them a long time to release some Frontier models, so I do see some Frontier models coming out in the near future, and that is it. And that is it for Terminal 2. And alright, so proceeding on to Terminal 3. So we got a few new models over here. We got 3 new models, so that's pretty exciting. And this is our first new model over here, which is the Delta Connection Bombardier CRJ-900. This is a Gemini second release from 2024. It's about the same as the first release. It's really disappointing in my opinion because the gears are too close, stabilizers are too high, so that's really unfortunate. But anyway, so this Delta CRJ-900, we'll say he'll be heading out to Austin today. So that is a new route. And Delta are trying to expand their presence over at Austin International Airport. So it's really exciting. That's a fictional route, but I just want to change it up just a little bit. Moving on to our next aircraft here, Delta Boeing 747-900ER. We'll say this aircraft will be doing a subscriber route out to Grand Eagle International Airport or 140 Airport Dioramas Airport. So there you go. I believe he has changed his username to 140 Airport Spotter, but that's what I'm just going to use as a username on the subscriber route form. So there you go. That's a lovely subscriber route there. And our next aircraft up here, the lovely NG Models Delta 747-800 with splits. And this aircraft will be heading out to Minneapolis. Our next aircraft up is the Delta Boeing 757-200 by NG. What a fantastic release. And we'll say this aircraft will be heading out to New York International Airport or JP Aviation picks this airport, so that is a subscriber route. And we'll say this aircraft has arrived in from Atlanta or Citrus Aviation's airport. Our next aircraft up is the WestJet Boeing 747-700 in the new livery. We'll say this aircraft will be heading out to Calgary, and this is another new model. Fantastic paint models released there. Our next aircraft up is the Delta Airbus A330-900neo. We'll say this aircraft will be heading out to Paris Charles de Gaulle International Airport. What a fantastic Gemini this was. It's good. I would say it's fantastic, but it's a good release. And the final aircraft in this half of Terminal 3, here at the ITA Airways Airbus A350-900. We'll say this aircraft will be heading out to Rome Fiumicino. Alright, so moving on to our next international aircraft here with KLM Airlines, Boeing 777-300 that great NG models release. And we'll say this aircraft will be heading out to Amsterdam. Moving on to our next aircraft. So here at Hawaiian Airlines, Boeing 787-9. So this aircraft will be heading out to Honolulu. So yes, Hawaiian has recently taken delivery of their 787s at long last, so we can finally feature them realistically in my Jacksonville Fictional Airport. I say realistically in quotations though, because this is a fictional airport, but you get what I'm saying. So a somewhat realistic route there. So we'll say this aircraft will be heading to Honolulu. Our next model up is another new model, and this is another CLT Aviation 13 model. Here, the beautiful Jonas Caribbean Airlines Boeing 747 MAX 8. This aircraft has arrived in from Port of Spain, and will be making a return for others, so great to have another new international airline over at Jacksonville to diversify the international section even more. Our next aircraft up is the Porter Airlines Embraer E195-E2. Just had to feature it again because it's a fantastic Gemini model. And this aircraft will be heading out to Quebec. And our final model in today's airport day is the Air Transat Airbus A321neo by NG Models. And this aircraft will be heading out to Toronto Pearson. And alright folks, so this concludes today's airport update. And this was the 30th airport date for my Jacksonville Fictional Airport. And this was for March 2024. This was the 1,000 subscriber special airport date. And before we end off today, I do want to mention one more Q&A question. This is from Airplane Niner. And what is the most fun part of collecting model aircraft in developing KJAK or Jacksonville Fictional Airport? And the most fun part of collecting, in my opinion, is just trying to get every single model that you can, and just collecting all sorts of different liveries, aircraft types, and just trying to cross out models off your wish list is just great. That's fun, and I really love developing Jacksonville as well, because one of my favorite things is just getting new models and just making each airport date that's different, and over time gradually getting gradually adding new airlines, new aircraft, new liveries, been replacing older models, have been just trying to randomize each airport day, because in case you guys didn't know, every update I do go through and I add and remove some models from previous update just to make each airport day a little bit more different, and we don't have the same special every single update. There's a few models in these airport dates that have been in every update, like my Southwest Heart Livery 747s, but they're the two essential for this update, or my Delta 757. That's a fantastic model not to be featured in every update, but yeah. But other than that, most of the models I do switch out every once in a while just to make the updates a little bit more, a little bit more special. So yeah, so that does conclude this video. So I just want to provide you guys a brief channel update. So so in the coming weeks, I do plan on making a few more videos, including a few more. There will be a lot more videos coming, I should say, including some new reviews for the new NGs and Gemini jets. I'll be doing another how to start your collection video, and the next video will be covering which retailers to buy your models from. So yeah, that's gonna be fun. And I'm not just gonna say West Coast Diecast. I'm gonna suggest several retailers that you guys can choose from. But yes, West Coast Diecast are fantastic. But yeah, so that video will be coming, and then in April I do plan on maybe bringing back an airport update series. Because I do have spring break coming up, and I do plan on filming a few videos over that break. So yes, I want to leave you guys on a cliffhanger on that. I'm not telling you which airport I plan on bringing back yet. But yeah. Yeah, sorry about the ums, everybody. There you go. Let's see, any other news I want to cover? So yeah, so the Q&A video kind of has been squashed. I decided to put it in this video just to make this airport day just a little bit more interesting. And then if you do want to submit a Q&A question or a subscribe button, use the Google form in the description below, because I definitely will feature it in the next airport date. And yeah, that's basically it for the channel update. And yeah, that's basically it. So I'd like to thank everybody so much for their support over the past 4 years, and thank you so much for helping me reach 1,000 subscribers. I've been working hard on it, and just thank you guys so much for the support. Yeah, it's been great. It's been great support, and yeah, I do plan on continuing these airport days for a long time, even when I'm flying planes as an airline pilot, which is going to be pretty cool. Yes, I also make these airport dates, and no worries. We'll see. We'll just see how Jacksonville develops over the next few years. And yes, so you get some me news, anyways. I have recently passed my private pilot ground school exam, or the FAA written exam, which is really exciting. I did get a 95 on it, so I do feel confident about my flying abilities. And in the coming months, I soon will be beginning my flight lessons in real life over my college where I'm going to, and I'll announce that in the coming. I will announce more about that in the future, but I will be flying soon, maybe making some flying content to add on this YouTube channel, because I'm JT Pilot after all, so might as well make some flying content since, we gotta satisfy the JT Pilot, name, so there you go, because I'm JT Pilot, not just JT Model Aviation, but yeah, so pilot content will be coming up, and I'll be soon graduating high school, so I am a senior right now, and I do have a few more months to go, then I'll graduate, and we'll be moving straight on to aviation. Just aviation, flying planes. Yes, more model content's coming up. I do have several video ideas planned, so hopefully you guys will enjoy it. Yes, that's all I gotta say for the channel update. So I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching this video, and have a wonderful day and have a wonderful weekend.